Okay, so in this demo I'm going to show how to create a service namespace URL that will be based on our service taxonomy. If you have questions about taxonomy, just look at the previous slides. I will also publish the service registry, and then we'll view the service in the service registry, having published it as public, and then we'll wrap up with a demo of using the net one-way relay binding to send one-way unicast messages. So with that, let's go ahead and pop in here to the code. Go ahead and open up the net one-way sample solution. This is also available for you to download, and let's take a look at what we have. So really simple client and service, as I talked about in my talk. We have a contract, service contract, that's marked as one way by the definition of the binding, and we then have a send operation, which is basically sending in a integer and returning nothing. On the service itself, or the type that implements the service contract, we have a method called send, which is the implementation of that method or interface definition, and then we're just writing that result to the console. The configuration side of the service is very simple. If you've been doing WCF, as I mentioned, this will all seem very familiar. The clincher here being that we're using the net one-way relay binding as the binding type, which is a Azure App Fabric Service Bus binding. And on the client side, the configuration is equally trivial. We achieve binding equivalence by ensuring that the client and the service bindings match, and you'll see that they do. The last thing that I'll mention is the shared secret security tactic, which is really the brute force kind of entry-level security approach for ensuring that the client and the service are aware of this issue or secret, and if they are, then they're permitted to communicate not only over the bus but with each other. If the client or the service does not have this shared secret key, then they're not authenticated nor authorized. And keep in mind, as I mentioned in my talk, this is really kind of a brute force approach. There's a very rich federated claim-based security model built into the Azure App Fabric access control service, but that is out of scope for this particular demonstration in my talk on Saturday. Also, please don't try to use this password. I am going to go ahead and reset it just to be safe, but you'll need to get your own issuer secret. So that means you'll have to go to the Azure website and actually sign up, and I've got a link in the demo download version that I provided. So moving on, then, the client itself is pretty simple. We're going to prompt the client to provide their service namespace. Remember, the service namespace is the namespace that you reserve when you set up your Windows Azure App Fabric account. We're then going to go ahead and create the service URI based on this helper create service URI helper method. I pass in the protocol scheme, which is SB, which is reserved for Azure App Fabric Service Bus, my particular service namespace name, and then the taxonomy of this particular service is very simple. It's one-way service WAC demo, but again, you can model that to whatever taxonomy makes sense in your domain. Now I'm setting up a WCF channel factory. Pretty straightforward there. I'm opening up the channel, and then I'm going to go ahead and enumerate 25 times, sending a message each time to the service, which will then go through the relay and be received by the client, and then at the end I will go ahead and close the channel and close the channel factory. So that's really all there is to it. It very much is just vanilla WCF. And then, as we'll see here, the real power of this is that I'm going to go ahead and set up publicly accessible endpoints from my service without having to create any inbound connections. So let's actually do that. So I'm going to right click here, select debug, I'm going to enter my service namespace. Now incidentally, I'm sitting here at home on my Cox Communications cable connection. As you can see, my service is now listening, so it's punched a outbound bidirectional port to the fabric and is ready to receive requests. So I'll go ahead and just dock him here temporarily, and then I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the client. And I just want to show you the discovery aspect of this. Because my one-way service is listening, I know that there's a service with the URI of one-way service / Demo1, which is consistent with the naming guidelines that we talked about. So now what I can do is, on the client side, I want to go ahead and establish a connection to the fabric as well. And at this point, I should also create an outbound channel through Cox, and now I start sending messages, which should be 25, and it works. So one of the things that I want to also just stress here that I might have just jumped over is on the service side of things, where creating the service host and then the service registry settings is really how we are defining the service to the registry within the app fabric service bus, and the fact that we've set it to discovery type public is why we were able to actually see it. If I set this to the other enum value, which is private, we'll go ahead and save this. We'll go ahead and recompile. I'm going to go ahead and close my browser. And let's just try this demo again. Okay. So now my service is still listening, but now if I go out and I check my feed, we'll see here that there is no endpoint listener. Okay, and that's because it has not been published. So let's go ahead and run this again. Send some messages. You can see once again that I don't get anything past one-way service. Okay. All right. So that was demo 1. I showed you how to define the service taxonomy, publish the service to the service registry, view the service registry by ensuring that it's set to discovery type of public, and then we sent one-way messages from a client to the service over the net, one-way binding, in this particular case from my home connection that just happens to be using Cox.